Welcome to another Messianic Moments. Today I want to focus on unforgiveness. And I'd like to start with a story that I found to be, well, I'll let you judge for yourself. One day a while back, a man, his heart heavy with grief, was sitting under a big oak tree. As he thought about his life this day, he knew many things were not right. He thought about those who had lied about him back when he had a job. His thoughts turned to those who had stolen his things and cheated him. He remembered family that had passed on. His mind turned to the illness he had that no one could cure. His very soul was filled with anger, resentment, and frustration. Searching for answers he could not find, knowing all else had failed him, he sought the one he knew would always be there. And with tears in his eyes, he prayed, "Lord, you've done wonderful things for me in this life. You have told me to do many things for you, and I happily obeyed. Today you have told me to forgive. I am sad because I cannot. I don't know how. It's not fair, Lord. I didn't deserve these wrongs that were done against me, and I shouldn't have to forgive. As perfect as your way is, Lord, this one thing I cannot do, for I don't know how to forgive. My anger is so deep, Lord, I fear I may not hear you. But I pray that you teach me to do this one thing I cannot do. Teach me to forgive." And as he prayed, there in the quiet shade of that old oak tree, he felt something fall onto his shoulder. And he opened his eyes, and out of the corner of one eye he saw something red on his shirt. He couldn't turn to see what it was because where the oak tree had been was a large square piece of wood in the ground. He raised his head and saw 2 feet held to the wood with a large spike through them. He raised his head more, and tears came to his eyes as he saw Yeshua hanging on a cross. He saw spikes in his hand, a gash in his side, a torn and battered body, deep thorns sunk into his head. Finally, he saw the suffering and pain on his precious face. And as their eyes met, the man's tears turned to sobbing, and Yeshua began to speak. He said, "Have you ever told a lie?" The man answered, "Yes, Lord." "Have you ever been given too much change and kept it?" The man answered, "Yes, Lord," and he sobbed more. "Have you ever taken something from work that wasn't yours?" Yeshua asked. And the man answered, "Yes, Lord." "Have you ever sworn using my Father's name in vain?" The man crying now answered, "Yes, Lord." And as Yeshua asked many more times, "Have you ever?" the man's crying became uncontrollable, for he could only answer, "Yes, Lord." Then Yeshua turned his head from one side to the other, and the man felt something fall on his other shoulder. He looked and saw that it was the blood of Messiah. And when he looked back up, his eyes met those of Yeshua, and there was a look of love the man had never seen or known before. Yeshua said, "I didn't deserve this either, but I forgive you." Unforgiveness is a sin that blocks your healing and your blessing. Unforgiveness is like letting someone live rent-free in your head. Forgiveness does not excuse or ignore the offense, nor does it remove the consequences, nor do you have to have a relationship with the one you forgive. But forgiveness is non-negotiable. Failure to do so keeps us out of God's will and assures that we will be tormented. Let me share 2 scriptures with you. First, Mark 11:25. "Whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, so that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your transgressions. And Matthew 18:35, you will be turned over to the tormentors if you don't forgive. Only when you forgive can you receive God's forgiveness and cleansing. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a decision to pardon forever and not hold people accountable for the hurt they caused. To cease to feel resentment and anger. Best of all, it releases you. When Yeshua was asked, how often must we forgive? He said 70 times 7 in a day. This has been another Messianic moment. God bless you all. Shalom, shalom.
And some glad morning I'll take flight to the house of the risen sun. House of the risen